Glory. Yo, what's up, guys? Say what's up as you come in. Hit that like button for me. Say where you watching from. Say what's up for a shout out in the chat. Listen, if you start the trolling, you know you're getting kicked out. So troll at your own risk. This is what I tell them all the time. Troll at your own risk, people. It's Thursday. Welcome to the daily live stream. Bro, my office is cold, so I'll be back in my office tomorrow. But right now, I'm not trying to freeze in there, so we're going to watch the news and our second favorite spot that people love. First up, we got Talk Rants with Didi. Black American men send out strong and important messages. So they're sending out a message to the community. Of course, this is regarding food stamps. I was going to play a different clip, but I think that President Trump is saying that food stamps will be available November 1st. Not too sure for certain, but it looks like that's what they're saying. So I want to take a look at this message first.
To bust somebody in the mouth for... You are not required to go to war for people who would not go to war for you. You are not required to bust somebody in the mouth for people who wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight for you. Just remind you.
Listen, black community, do not fall for the bait. I'm telling you, they are trying to bait us. You know, they are trying to bait us. You saw what happened at the university with the man. You saw what happened 100 miles away, and another dude was found hung. This is bait. They are trying to lead us to revolt.
It's not bait. You're just going to go to jail if you steal.
I'm telling you,
that's all.
Bait. Keep your mind sharp. Control your emotions. You know.
Family, let's be real. Black and brown people in this country are fed the fuck up. Every day under this Trump administration, we're watching the law get violated in broad daylight, while we're just trying to live, raise our kids, or build something for ourselves. We did not ask for this fight, but this regime keeps putting a target on our backs. And it's not just Trump. He stacked the Supreme Court with a bunch of loyalists. The military is following his orders, and people like Pete Hegseth are just giving commands that aren't even lawful. That's not democracy. That's tyranny. And the whole world sees it because folks are scared. They're packing up. They're leaving America in numbers that we've just never seen before. And if you look at what's happening in our neighborhoods, troops are patrolling the streets like it's a war zone. And when the only thing that we're guilty of is existing while black and brown. So let's be clear. Trump's greed and his obsession with attacking us isn't just dangerous for us. It's dangerous for the whole country. So because if you keep pushing people into a corner, eventually they're going to push back. And when people lose faith in the justice system, when we believe that the courts won't protect us, every state in America, we're slipping into chaos. And that's not a warning, that's a fucking guarantee. Trump can control the soldiers, but he cannot control the spirit of the people. And if the people rise, no army in the world is going to be able to stop them. So this administration needs to understand, you cannot keep sowing division, fear, and hate without consequence. What starts as an attack on black and brown people will end up tearing at the very foundation of this country. And if America falls into an abyss, it won't just swallow us, it's going to swallow everybody. So I'm telling you, stay aware, stay strong, and stay united, because history shows us one thing. Every empire that forgets its people eventually collapses.
I had a conversation with a European friend of mine, I think 2 weeks ago, talking about what's going on in America. And I told him, have you noticed that only one group of people are responding, reacting? I said, it's white folks that are reacting to to what's going on in America. And I said, it's because black Americans are used to this nonsense. Guys, go read this book. It's called Black Fortunes by Shamari Wills. Okay? Almost every single page in this book is how white people put systems in place to make sure black Americans don't move any step further. This has been done to them for centuries. In 2025, the fact that black Americans are still alive and breathing is a fucking miracle, in my opinion. But despite all the systemic hurdles that have been placed in the presence of black Americans, they still created their own spaces. They still created their own churches, their own cities, their own industries. Don't let these people tell you that, oh, African Americans are just this. No, look at your history. Inventions. A lot of things has happened. But you want to know what happened? It's been stolen by white folks. It's been taken from by white folks. The land has been taken. Their policies have been taken. Their businesses have been burned down. Their Wall Street has been taken. So when you see what's going on now, Black Americans in 2025 are numb. N-U-M-B. They are numb. They are numb to injustice. They are numb to these kind of things because it's not new. So that's why when you see people reacting to what's going on in America, it tends to be white people. Like, oh my God, this is so, I cannot believe Trump is taking away departments of education. Black people ain't saying shit. Oh, I cannot believe he's deporting immigrants. Black people ain't saying shit. Because when black people are trying to tell people this guy is going to do this to you, guess what other people of color did? They ignored black folks because they wanted proximity to whiteness. Now that shit has hit the fan, guess who they are calling? Black folks, Black Americans. Black Americans are now keeping silent, rightfully so, by the way, to what's going on in America because they've realized that other people of color, in quotes, the Indians, the Mexicans, especially the Mexicans, most of what you guys have in America, even Africans, by the way, is because of the Black Americans that have fought for everybody to have access to it. Okay? So, even the so-called Arabs, the Latinos, the Indians, the Asians who are always silent, playing whoever is winning, they are now realizing that without black bodies and black voices, nobody actually fights. Even white people don't stand up and fight for themselves. I mean, I literally saw a video of a white woman at a Republican Congress being assaulted by security. They were pulling her, dragging her on the floor like she's a bag being dragged on the floor. Not one single white person, full of white people, stood up to help her out. So when black people are not there to scream and shout and fight for everybody, nobody fights for themselves. Nobody fights for us, or Black Americans even. And this segregation topic that's being done now, people don't realize that black people are used to this shit. Mexicans are not even used to this shit. Asians are not used to this. Whites are not used to this. So that's why everybody's losing their mind. Blacks are used to this shit. Do you know that even for the past 3 days, I've only been seeing white people talking about let us not do segregation. Black people are happy. They want segregation.
If white folks would have just left everybody alone and went to Antarctica or Iceland or some crap, Greenland or some crap, to start your own America there, wouldn't nobody care? Don't nobody care if you want to have an all-white America. But leave everybody else alone to have their own too. That's the problem that you seem to completely miss all throughout the current time and in history. Nobody gives a damn if you just leave everybody else alone. Do you understand that you are in the middle, you little pale-skinned vampire, you are in the middle of every global conflict there has ever been.
Racist.
Every assassination, every coup, you are in the middle of all of the messy shit all the time. You are at the center of it. When people start investigating, oh, well, I wonder what happened here. I wonder who did this. I wonder how this came to be. Oh, lo and behold, look who's at the center of it, sitting in the damn middle of the room, in the middle of the mess, like a damn mischievous toddler, looking stupid in the face. White folks, specifically white Americans. But I want black people to remember something. White Americans want you to be exactly like them. The reason being, how that started, is because they are Europe's rejects. They didn't just leave. They think that they want you to believe that they just left to start America on this noble trip. No, they were kicked out. They are Europe's rejects. They were removed, thrown out, tossed out from Europe. So they have no place to go but America. So this is why they try to divide you from everybody else in the world. They create negative stereotypes for you. They create negative propaganda for you. They condition and brainwash you into believing the same propaganda. So much so that all the black people now in current time uphold all the negative stereotypes, uphold all of the negativity and bad habits that we have in this community today. We are seeing the result of that historical propaganda play out now. Because you got kids that you can't even be positive with. You got adults that you can't even be positive with. And somehow we all sit up here, oh, well, it's the dang kids, these dang YNs, and it's the dang women, it's the dang men. No. You're actively contributing in what they want you to contribute in. Divisiveness. We are living and breathing the long-term effect, the result of brainwashing. But you still thinking it's a conspiracy theory, right? Let's go back to the pale-skinned vampire. We don't care about your sundown towns. We don't care about none of your little racist habits, none of your little racist thoughts. We don't care if you would just leave everybody alone. But you don't know. You seem to think the poor pale-skinned vampire, the poor whites, because they kind of slow in the brain, right? They kind of slow. The poor whites, for whatever reason, believe still that nothing's happening in America. And they believe this because it's not happening to them. That's funny. Because during slavery, those same whites, oh, well, it's not so bad. We only essayed 1,000 of your women today. That's not that bad. We only executed 1,000,000 children today. We only essayed 1,000 children today. We only chopped off the foots and castrated 20,000 of your men today. It ain't that bad. Oh, I don't see what the hubbub is about. It's the same thing, just evolved. It's the same thing. We're dealing with the same kind of people. Now they just troll you. Now there is a marketplace for black trauma. There's a marketplace for black outrage. There's a marketplace to keep you triggered. There's profit margin in it. People can post videos on these apps triggering you and make money. Let them have their racism. Let them have their sundown town. Let them have a white country build a black one. Let us have our black sundown towns then. Let us have everything they gonna have. We should have the equal to it. Stop complaining. This is my message to black folks now. Stop complaining about what they doing. Just match their energy.
Black people, this message is for you, and this is for women, men, doesn't matter. The LGBTQ group, if I got some letters wrong, forgive me, charge it to my head, not my heart. But please listen to what I'm trying to tell you. This message is for people of color, and in particular black people. I want to share that we need to be careful about how we react in these coming days, years, etc. Because the current administration has already shown us that there is a strong agenda to target, if you will, black and brown people. Everybody thinks that this is about immigration and people not liking immigration, but that's not true. This ain't about that. They don't like any brown or black people, just so y'all know. So knowing that means that we gotta move differently in this season to stay safe and to protect ourselves. And this is how we're going to do that. Black women, no popping off at every little thing and every time somebody disrespects you in this season so that you can stay safe and out of jail. Just walk away. Just walk away. Let them have it. Now, if you haven't mastered the ability to be able to read people without raising your voice or escalating situations, because we already are labeled as angry and aggressive and difficult. And some of us are, but they are as well. But this ain't about them. This is about us. This is how we are going to stay safe. We are going to walk away and ignore certain things, especially when we're being baited. Okay? We already saw how the Ohio woman issued an apology because she assumed the black man was, she lied and said that the black man was chasing her when clearly he was not. Karens. it's going to be a lot of them coming out of the woodwork trying to make things difficult for us. So I'm trying to tell y'all, you need to be on full alert because it's going to be a lot of Carolyn Bryants yelling and screaming and acting as if somebody did something that they didn't do. That's how Emmett Till got killed. Oh, boom, boom, ooh, sorry. That's how Emmett Till got unalived. Carolyn Bryant accused him of something that he absolutely did not do. So, ladies, gentlemen, and every other, if you are a person of color, this is your time to act accordingly and stay safe. Stop popping off. And when you get pulled over, make sure that you have your license and registration. Put your hands on the wheel. You get, do not act up, do not act out. Shut up. Just be quiet. Because they want any and every excuse. Any and every excuse. In my hometown, in a town in Texas, they said they're pulling people over for no reason at all. Any little thing. That's just because, that's just a way for them to violate and disrespect them, because 9 times out of 10 in some places, black people don't have their driver's licenses, they don't have IDs, and they don't have insurance. That's another thing. Take care of your business so you will give them no excuse. Make sure that you have your driver's license up to date. Make sure that you have a state issued ID, even if you don't have your driver's license. Take care of your business. And make sure if you're driving a car that you have insurance. Get on your grind. So I'm just trying to let y'all know these are the things that are going to keep you bound and in trouble. And you don't want people to have to come to your house for anything. So protect yourselves in your homes. Because if they come, what's the other woman that recently was unalived by the police officers? We cannot trust the police. We cannot expect them to save us. And that's one reason why I would also tell you, get to know your neighbors, get to know your local law enforcement. At least know somebody, at least one person you can call if you have an issue that you trust. Yes, get to know people that are in some type of position of authority where they can help you if need be.
I'll tell you one thing she is right about. Driving around with everything you need to drive around with. From personal experience, I'll talk more about this tomorrow, but from personal experience, I know that it just doesn't benefit you to do that. To not have it all together and to have what you need to be driving with. It makes you way more paranoid than what you actually need to be. So, I'm not saying like, oh, you got to be afraid of like the boogeyman cops when you drive. I'm just saying that if you don't have every single thing that you need, then your paranoia is going to be high. You're going to have some anxiety, and part of that is because you're not doing the right thing. So yeah, you make it easier on the cop and on yourself if you just have everything and you're just good to go. All right, so we're going to go over to Adam. Let me see this name. I have my glasses on. My fault, chat. Adam Mockler. He covered JD Vance just got confronted over his dark secret. So I don't know what the dark secret is, but I'm pretty sure he's at a Turning Point USA event. Which I was like, oh God, JD's a millennial and he has like a lot of Gen Zers talking to him. He might lose it. So let's take a look.
Hey, I got her a little something.
A little something, Dad?
Oh, hi. Walt rolled his 401k accounts into an...
But there is something you guys are doing that is kind of disturbing me a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. You guys have sent the military into Washington, D.C. and a few other cities that I can't think of off the top of my head.
All right, check it out. It only took a few college students to expose the fundamental flaws in J.D. Vance's worldview. Vance was debating college students at a Turning Point USA event in Oxford, Mississippi. After Charlie Kirk was obviously killed, tragically, kicking off the first event, the tour has continued with different faces rotating in, We had Megyn Kelly hosting one event. We now have JD Vance hosting one event in Oxford, Mississippi. And I just want to break down a few key moments. There's one moment where a dude in a Trump hat asks him a really good question about the National Guard, saying, hey, if you're able to mobilize the National Guard into certain states or into certain territories like DC, what stops the next administration from mobilizing it in the same way, maybe against a Turning Point USA event? It is a very good question and one that deserves to be asked. But first, let me show you the moment that's been going mega viral, where a woman asks JD Vance, a really, really heartfelt question, saying, Republicans have talked for years about the American dream, about people moving here, making the country better, people moving here and having a path forward, upward mobility. But now you guys are trying to take that away and demonize the people who have moved here. I'm going to let her play this. I'm going to let her say this. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the Adam Mockler feed to help boost the message. And let's listen to this.
Hello, Mr. Vice President. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to talk here today. I did not agree with many of the things that you said right ahead of this, but I don't think that's my point to discuss here. What I want to ask is, you are married to a woman who is not Christian. In her Wikipedia, I just looked that up. I don't even know what her faith was. I didn't know this before. But she still calls herself Hindu. You are raising three kids in cultural, racial, religious household. How are you maintaining, or how are you teaching your kids not to keep your religion ahead of their mother's religion? Or how are you teaching them that your kind, that kind who got here just few years or few decades ago is different or is better than your mom's kind who got here just a generation before? How?
Damn. She asked him. I didn't know this was going viral. That's why I was like, dang, she asked him that question.
Are you balancing that? And when you talk about too many immigrants here, when did you guys decide that number? Why did you sell us a dream? You made us spend our youth, our wealth in this country and gave us a dream. You don't owe us anything. We have worked hard for it. Then how can you, as a vice president, stand there and say that we have too many of them now and we are going to take them out to people who are here rightfully so by paying the money that you guys asked us? You gave us the path, and now how can you stop it and tell us we don't belong here anymore?
You know what makes this so bad? Because she literally looks like Usha.
Yeah.
Like, she literally looks like his wife. Like, I'm not gonna lie, she asked like 4 questions in one, right, chat? She probably asked because she said, how do you're raising your children in an interracial, interreligious, right? She's like, how do you teach your children that your religion is not better than their mother's religion, or that their mother's religion is not better than yours? And now that already puts JD Vance in the hot seat with Christians. Because now it's like, what you gonna say, JD?
Yeah,
because Hinduism and Christianity is not the same thing. So what you gonna say to that, And then she's like, how do you teach your children that, your kind is better that came to this country because you guys came hundreds of years ago, versus your wife's kind, is not, maybe they're not better because they just came maybe a generation or 2 ago. That's why I was like, dang, I didn't know she asked like that. That's like kind of crazy. It was a great question though, but I'm like,
it is a lot.
Oh God, I hope he didn't lose it. Let me see how he reacts.
One more thing, I'm sorry. One more thing. Do you have to
There's a lot there. I don't know if I'm going to remember all this, but I'm
sorry. I have to say
That's
all
why I
of
said
this.
she asked like 4 questions in one.
Take it with your, I'm saying all of
course.
it with
No, go ahead.
respect.
Please.
I have no intention of causing a scene here or anything, but
We're not close to causing a scene, don't worry.
But we talked about Christianity, all of this. I'm not even Christian, and I'm here standing to so support. Why are we making Christianity one of the major thing that you have to have in common to be one of you guys, to show that I love America just as you do? Why is that still a question? Why do I?
Oh my God. What did you say, JD?
Okay, so there was a lot there, and I'm going to try to respond to as much of it as I can. So on the question of immigration. So first of all, I couldn't believe.
I knew it. I knew he was gonna go to immigration first because I was like, well, I was like, go ahead and do Christianity first, but I knew he wasn't gonna do that one first.
That we should have lower immigration levels, but if the United States passed a law and made a promise to somebody, the United States, of course, has to honor that promise. Nobody's talking about that. I'm talking about people who came in violation of the laws of the United States of America, and I'm talking about in the future reducing the number of people. Sorry, what?
Can I continue on that? Because when you just said you are not stopping with the people who came here legally, right? But you are pushing out policies that hurt us. And these policies are not even solving the problems. These policies are just creating chaos.
Ma'am, okay, so again, I'm gonna finish answering the question, and then if I've answered all 9 of your questions in less than 15 minutes, then we can keep on going.
It was like 4, JD.
We gotta have a little fun, right? So here,
it was like
it's
4.
a clever way of not answering anything substantive.
Yeah, it was like 4 actually.
I
It
can
wasn't 9.
believe that the United States should lower its levels of immigration in the future, while also respecting that there are people who have come here through lawful immigration pathways that have contributed to the country. But just because one person or 10 people or 100 people came in legally and contributed to the United States of America, does that mean that we're thereby committed to let in 1 million or 10 million or 100 million people a year in the future? No, that's not right. We cannot have, I'll go and finish. We cannot have an immigration policy where what was good for the country 50 or 60 years ago binds the country inevitably for the future. There's too many people who want to come to the United States of America, and my job as vice president is not to look out for the interests of the whole world, it's to look out for the people of the United States.
I don't know, everybody cheers, but it kind of feels like he didn't answer the question. I feel like the question was largely based around the attitudes towards legal immigrants and this conflation that comes from the administration where they try to bring up, violent criminals or drug dealers every single time they bring up immigration. They try to draw a connection between these two, even when they're talking about legal immigration. So essentially, I feel like she was asking a few different questions, but at the core of her question is, why are you demonizing immigrants, both legal and illegal, but even legal immigration? You're making the pathways harder. You're removing temporary protected status. You're making the barriers for H-1B visas higher, saying you have to pay $100,000. Over and over, I can list these examples of then making legal immigration tougher.
Said if you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
Unless you're...
I hope he answered more than just that, but I'll have to go back and find that clip in its entirety. That was pretty crazy the way she laid that out there.
You're coming from South Africa and you're a white person, or you're a Christian of some sort, which is what she was saying, but he didn't really get to the heart of that. He then started going for the easiest stuff and attacking illegal immigration, saying, hey, listen, we just want to minimize the amount of illegal immigration
JD,
happening.
you should have went for Christianity
everybody
first.
wants to minimize the amount of illegal immigration happening. Let me show you this next clip of a dude asking JD Vance about the National Guard. This one's quite lighthearted. I mean, they joke around a bit, but the question is quite serious. We need an answer to this question. It's quite serious. JD Vance is not satisfactory. Take a listen.
Hello, JD. How you doing today, man?
Good. How you doing?
In the wise words of Ricky Bobby, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Don't feel bad. Neither do I half the time, man.
Okay.
Brutal lack of laugh from the crowd.
Half the time, man.
Okay. First off, yeah, laugh it up. Okay, first off, I just want to say I am a huge supporter of the Trump administration. I was 3 months too late to vote for you guys, but if I could have, I would have. So I'm a huge supporter of you guys before I make my argument. But there is something you guys are doing that is kind of disturbing me a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. You guys have sent the military into Washington, D.C., and a few other cities that I can't think of off the top of my head, which, first off, they've had wonderful results. Like, no one can deny the results of that. It's wonderful.
I mean, you can deny the results. People going to restaurants at a 40% lower rate means people aren't really going out as much. And when people aren't going out as much because there's military on the streets, that's clearly a short-term solution. I mean, what, are you just going to perpetually have military on the streets of Chicago, for example, where I live and record, just always have military out there forever, and that's going to solve the crime problem? Or are we going to turn into North Korea?
Some might even say the greatest. I'm a comedian.
I like this guy. Who is this guy?
You can make the crowd laugh more than JD Vance can.
Thank you, JD. I like you too.
Now he's gonna ask the question about all the shit that we did wrong, but that's okay. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, well, it's not necessarily something you did wrong, but it's what could someone else do wrong? Let's say we get a complete tyrant in office, and let's say Turning Point USA is having a huge protest against, something really bad that we don't like, and let's say a president is saying that it's getting violent. How can we, I'm trying to think, my mind's kind of blank. What is the difference between what you're doing and how could we prevent someone from abusing that power?
It's a really good question. He's basically saying it's a slippery slope. If one administration begins to mobilize the National Guard illegally against the explicit will of the governor, the mayors in the state, everyone who lives in these states, and he just continues to do that, which is incredibly authoritarian and illegal, especially after posting memes.
It's a good question.
On fire, but that's a different story.
He's trying to say that.
Then, hey, we're all laughing now. We're all yucky. We all think it's like fun now. But what if the next Democratic president
does the same thing?
Isn't as nice and decides to just mobilize the National Guard into red states? It's not as funny then. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah. So look, I understand where the question is coming from, and I think it's a fair question. And it's going to sound like I'm being sarcastic, and it really is not meant in any offense. But when you talk about what could another administration do, to take a wild, hypothetical example totally off the top of my head, what if Joe Biden sent the Federal Bureau of Investigation to start arresting his political opponents?
Oh, that's bullshit.
Okay? So here's something that I want conservatives, I want every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it. That is the takeaway of the last 40 years.
We're not. No Democratic president has mobilized the National Guard against the will of the people who run these states. No Democratic president has started crypto
Well, they wouldn't do
no
that,
Democratic
Adam.
president has tried to run for a third term or joked about it this much and posted AI memes. I mean, no Democratic president has tried to sign executive orders that overturn birthright citizenship or other constitutional amendments. When JD Vance tries to point to some non-example from Biden, what do you mean Biden ordered his FBI to go after anybody? They keep saying this, but they have no actual example of Biden ordering his DOJ to do that. I proved this on CNN by, asking Scott Jennings over and over, what's your proof? They never have any. But not only that, to make matters worse, Trump literally did ask Pam Bondi in a Truth Social post directly. He said, hey, Pam, go after these 3 people. And 2 out of those 3 people have been gone after ever since that post. It's so directly, clearly, obvious. It's persecution, and JD Vance is not answering that kid's question. The dude's question is very, 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 savvy. It's smart. He's saying, hey, dude, we're all sitting here cheering while you're arresting opponents and mobilizing the military. Could this potentially backfire? And JD Vance says, no. JD Vance is like, no, this has already all happened. Trust me. Like, the Democrats have already done all this. Nobody's done all this before, bro. If you think Merrick Garland and Joe Biden were out there doing radical shit, then you weren't paying attention. And obviously, he's just grifting, trying to consolidate power as much as possible. I'm going to leave it there. If you appreciate the videos on the Adam Mockler channel, all that I ask is that you drop a like, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
If you live... All right, I'm going to go over to this next one. Shout out to Adam for covering that. I mean, I think it was pretty good. I think the lady laid the question on pretty thick. I gotta find the rest of that, and if I do, I might bring it up tomorrow. And like I said in the chat, it doesn't help. Like, it doesn't help. I noticed that a lot of people were saying that because she looks similar to his wife, they had the same exact idea that I had. That's the reason why I didn't help. So yeah, I can see why JD was a little bit stressed when he answered that question. I got to go back and find this in this entirety, because from what I understand, there was more than one question that kind of stressed him out. But hopefully he didn't do too horrible. I thought he did worse than that, but it wasn't too bad. It was just that she made a lot of good points with her question. So we'll go over to Speaker Mike Johnson now. He has on his YouTube channel, Speaker Johnson joins Inside Politics with Dana Bash on CNN. We already know that Dana Bash is a little biased. I'm being facetious. She's very left-leaning. So I'm curious to see how this conversation is going to go.
For being here. I do want to get to the shutdown in just a second. But I also want to quickly talk about something that the president said, pretty remarkable, actually, that he said. He said that he instructed the Pentagon to begin testing nuclear weapons again for the first time in more than 30 years. It hasn't happened since 1992. Have you been briefed about this? Are you okay with this move?
I haven't spoken to the president in about 48 hours, so I did not know he was going to say that, but I think it is an important thing for him to have said. Why? Because we have demonstrated, even in recent days, that the only way to maintain peace is to show strength. It's peace through strength. That's one of our principles that we try to advance here every day. We learned that during the Cold War. We know it's certainly true now. America is the last great superpower in the world. We do not have a peer-to-peer adversary. China is trying to become that. But in this dynamic that we have now on the world stage, America has to show strength. And I think it is an obvious and logical thing to ensure that our weapon systems work as they're designed. I have a big Air Force base in my district. Barksdale Air Force Base is the home of the Global Strike Command. 2/3 of nuclear triad commanded there. And our airmen and all of those involved in our nuclear arsenal need to be well practiced, and they certainly are. They're ready and prepared, but we need to make sure that we know that we can maintain our strength. And I think that's an obvious and logical thing to do.
Okay, let's turn now to the now 30-day government shutdown. We are learning some new details about a series of negotiations that are underway across the Capitol from where you are in the Senate. And one of the options that they're discussing is reopening a significant part of the government, including the Department of Agriculture, through next year. Now, that would alleviate the pain of tens of millions of Americans who are about to feel a lot of pain and hunger because the SNAP benefits are going to expire in just 2 days on Saturday. Would you accept a partial government funding deal?
Well, there are a handful of moderate centrist Democrats left in the U.S. Senate, and they are in panic mode right now because they recognize that their votes have been the reason that all this pain and hardship is being experienced by the American people. We're on day 30, as you said. They have voted now 14 times to impose this hardship and pain. They're doing it for political purposes, as I've explained in my press conference every single morning. They're worried about the radical left base that is rising in the Democrat Party. And some of the leading politicians here, including the two New Yorkers who run both chambers, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, are afraid they're going to get a challenge from a Mamdani-like candidate. And so they have to show a fight, and that's what this is about. It is senseless. It is unprecedented. This is the first time in U.S. history that any party has had the audacity to close down the government for a simple CR, a clean, nonpartisan measure. So here's the answer. We cannot deviate from the #1 job and responsibility of U.S. Congress, and that is to keep the government in operation for the people. And the simplest way to fix this is to reopen all of the government, not just parts of it, so they can alleviate a little bit of the pain that they themselves are causing. Let's alleviate all the pain and get that done. They have no logical argument why they would not do that, and that's why we're so angry and frustrated about this.
So that's a no? You would not support what the moderates in Republicans and Democrats are talking to one another in the Senate to at least partially reopen, like the Department of Agriculture, which would make sure that tens of millions of people would be able to eat, those people who rely on government funding?
There's a very important point that everyone needs to understand. Republicans have voted 14 times to provide SNAP benefits, military pay, veterans health services, nutrition assistance for young women, the disabled, the elderly. We've done it 14 times. The Democrats have voted 14 times to block all of that. We need to do all of those things simultaneously. You have to pay the troops. You have to pay Border Patrol, TSA agents and air traffic controllers and everybody else. All of these things need to be done, not just part of them. The White House has bent over backwards to try to mitigate, reduce the pain as much as possible. We've gotten troops paid for part of October. Those funds are running out. We got WIC funding, Women, Infants, and Children Nutrition Programs funded, thanks to the president, but that money's running out as well. This is very real. The pain is very serious, and Democrats are playing games with this.
Well, and by the way, no one's disputing what you just said, that you have voted, or the Senate has voted after you passed, a clean CR. But the reality is that this has been a stalemate for 30 days, and it's not just Democrats. You also have one of the most conservative Republican senators, Josh Hawley, who says, at least, please, move money around to feed people. Why not consider that?
Because if you deviate from the goal of reopening the entire government, Chuck Schumer and the radicals over there will continue to play games with people's paychecks, their livelihoods. And if you do just part of this, it will reduce the pressure for them to do all of it, to do their basic job, and that is reopen the government. This is very real and very serious, and they can end it today. They can do it right now. All they have to do is, we just need 5 more Democrats in the Senate to help us reach the 60-vote threshold. We don't have enough Republicans to do the right thing on our own. We need them to do the right thing.
Does it give you some hope that regardless of the reason they're doing it, that there are Republicans and Democrats talking to one another right now about finding some way out of this?
Sure, I think they're responding to the public pressure, and we need more of that. If you're listening to
hope is great. We still need the government back open.
Senators and tell them to do the right thing. Also, the unions, the largest unions of federal employees, over 800,000, have come out and said, please, Democrats, stop the nonsense and vote for the clean, nonpartisan CR. It's so important to remember, we don't have any Republican or conservative priorities on the CR. These are Biden-level policies and spending that we're just asking them to extend for several more weeks so we can finish the work of Congress and the appropriations process. That's it. It's all a game so they can show a fight against Republicans. That's clearly what's going on, and they can end it immediately.
So just to put a pin in it, all or nothing. Full government funding for the entire government, or you're not going to bring anything up on the House floor, even if the Senate finds some sort of compromise?
Yet, because they're trying to play games, and we are not interested in doing that. That's the position of the leadership, Republican leadership in the Senate and the House and the White House as well. We have to do well and right by all the American people. Yeah.
Can I just ask you, because you mentioned it, that you all have found ways to pay the members of the military, which, you know, people understand, and WIC, which people also understand. But why are you drawing the line now on 40 million Americans who literally will not be able to eat without government assistance? Why not help them in the short term? And why are they?
Wait a minute. Yeah. Wait, I reject the premise of the question. I'm not drawing the line. The Democrats are drawing the line. If we had a contingency fund that we could use, that would be done. The White House has demonstrated over and over, the executive branch, all the cabinet secretaries are doing everything they can to mitigate and reduce the pain. But that ability is not available for SNAP because the contingency fund had to be prior authorized by Congress.
Well, they say that that's not what the law shows.
No, well, that's ridiculous.
And certainly the administration has shown that they are very happy to move money around without Congress saying yes.
No, Dennis, they're just simply not true. It's already been adjudicated. When they tried to do that in the first Trump administration, the GAO, for example, determined it was illegal. And the Democrats, when they voted against the Clean CR, they voted down that possibility. So it is not legally available to do that. Believe me, the White House has already demonstrated over and over they would use it if it was available. It's not. The Democrats have put the American people in this crisis, and they are the ones that have the power to end it. They could do it today if they feel enough pressure to do so.
The president is on Air Force One right now. He's headed home. And you and other Republican leaders, I think it's fair to say, have been, okay with him not getting very involved. But is it now time for him to sit down with you and other leaders and try to work this out? Will there be a meeting, forgive me, in the next few days, now that he's going to be back?
Well, let me correct that question as well. The president was deeply involved. Remember, he brought in the Democrat leaders and to meet with us in the White House in the Oval Office before all this began, and he urged Schumer and Hakeem to keep the government open, and they rejected it. The president has been involved, and he has told them that he will talk about any issue under the sun as soon as they do the obvious thing to reopen the government first. That is our job here.
So no,
We're going
so
to wrestle
no
over
deal.
all these policy questions.
You know, he could make a deal on this in 5 minutes.
He can't. There's no deal to be made. Remember, the CR does not have Trump or Republican priorities on it at all. There's nothing we can pull off of that to make it more palatable for the Democrats. I would have done that a long time ago. But we operated in good faith from day one. Back in September, on September 19th, we voted for a clean, nonpartisan CR. It's only 24 pages in length. It just says keep everything at status quo so we can all finish our jobs here. The Democrats rejected it for the first time in their lives. They did the same type of CR, voted for it 13 times during the Biden administration. The only reason they did it right now is because they're afraid of the rise of the far-left Marxists in their party, and they have to show them that they're going to fight. And real people are hurting during this political game, this showmanship. Chuck Schumer's trying to save his own political hide in New York, and he's willing to put the American people through this great hardship for that reason alone, and it is shocking to us.
I want to ask about something that has been going on for a long time, or maybe not been going on for a long time in the House of Representatives, and that is Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva has not yet been sworn in. Today's her birthday. She was elected on September 23rd. She's now the longest elected member of Congress she's waited the longest to be sworn in of anybody. You say you're going to swear her in when the government reopens, but you know you've sworn in Republicans during pro forma sessions before.
Different times, different circumstances. No, Rep. Rep-elect Grijalva is also a victim of the Democrats' political games. As soon as we return to regular legislative session, we will do that. I'm following the Pelosi precedent, as I've explained on CNN many times. With similar circumstances, I can name you the members of Congress who were elected in special elections, and she waited, like, for example, when two were elected during an August recess, she waited till Congress came back into regular session to administer the oath. That's a logical thing to do. We will do the same thing. We haven't had floor business now as long as the government has been shut down. As soon as we return to the regular legislative session, we, of course, will give her the oath. And in the meantime, by the way, she has every ability to do everything that every other member is doing. She has keys to her office. She has 16 employees. She has an ID badge to get into the building. She can work on constituent services. She can do all those things. There's no reason for her not to. And if she isn't, she's the one who has to answer for that, not us. I'm going to do exactly the right and traditional thing, and we're going to give her the oath as soon as we get back to session. That can happen tomorrow if the Democrats will get busy.
Just to put a button on this, if she were a Republican, she would be in the same position? You would not be swearing her in?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because we're not here in session. That's the whole point. This has happened to Republicans and Democrats under Nancy Pelosi and now under Speaker Johnson. This is the way the institution works.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I felt like she was trying to pull that racist card. I mean that sexist card, but it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work. Mike Johnson was like, no, this is just the way it goes, because that's the way it's always when it went like that when Nancy Pelosi was in there. All right, guys, we're going to switch gears and go to the Young Turks. Short clip, MTG pops off at Mike Johnson. So we're going to take a look at Marjorie Taylor Greene going off on the Republican Party. She's not really going off. She just keeps talking about what is the Republican Party's plan for health care, which I think is a good question, because if they can't do what the Democrats are going to do, then the question is, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And she seems to be one of the only people in the Republican Party kind of talking out about this. So let's take a listen.
There's something bad here and there.
So we're still earning their... It's day 29 of the federal government shutdown, where our congressional lawmakers who are still earning their checks are proving to us once again that they're pretty much useless. Marjorie Taylor Greene, though, is fighting back. Turns out some of our lawmakers actually are looking out for what's in the best interest of the American people. So Marjorie Taylor Greene is still on the warpath against her own party for attempting to do away with healthcare subsidies, to the point where healthcare premiums are now set to double without said subsidies. And she's furious that there's no backup plan by the Republican Party to help Americans with rising healthcare costs. Yesterday, reporter Jake Sherman tweeted the following, or posted the following. On the House Republican conference call, Marjorie Taylor Greene just said that she is tired of people listening to the White House political staff. MTG said that Thune, meaning Senate Majority Leader Thune, needs to use the nuclear option and reopen the government. In other words, abolish the filibuster and pass a funding bill. Now, Greene did respond to that, but before we do, Cenk, you have strong thoughts on the nuclear option. Do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene on every part of what she's saying in this particular message, including getting rid of the filibuster. But wait, Cenk, that would leave us defenseless for them passing this continuing resolution without us being able to get them to stop on doubling the premiums, right? Okay, yeah, that's because they won the election. And by the way, if they do that, then it's on them. And then the American people see they gave all the money to the rich in their tax cuts, and then they took money away from you and doubled your premiums. And then you win back Congress, etc. But this whole idea that the majority should not rule makes no sense whether it's a Democrat or Republican in charge.
So she responded to Jake Sherman's post by saying, you left out that I said I have no respect for the House not being in session, passing our bills and the president's executive orders. And I demanded to know from Speaker Johnson what the Republican plan for healthcare is to build the off-ramp off Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act tax credits to make health insurance affordable for Americans, meaning, like, where's the Republican plan on healthcare? That's what she wants to know. Johnson said he's got ideas and pages of policy ideas, and committees of jurisdiction are working on it, but he refused to give me one policy proposal to our GOP conference on our own conference call. Apparently, I have to go into a SCIF to find out the Republican healthcare plan. I don't know what an SCIF is.
It's a SCIF. A SCIF is where you see top secret information.
Got it.
That's why Trump was in so much trouble, because he took stuff that should have been in a SCIF that you can't even leave the SCIF with, and he took it to Mar-a-Lago and put it in the bathroom.
He did nothing wrong. Those documents were in good hands. All right, anyway, Greene was still going hard this morning, by the way. She wrote, is it too much for me to ask what is my party's plan to build the off-ramp off of Obamacare onto price transparency, a competitive market, and affordable high-quality care? November 1st is Saturday, starting open enrollment with already high premiums skyrocketing. It's been 15 years. I gotta give her a lot of credit for saying out loud what we all have been saying about the Republican Party as it pertains to their reaction and efforts in dismantling the Affordable Care Act. Okay, you guys got a policy that's better, let us see it. Remember, repeal and replace, repeal and replace. What are you gonna repeal and replace it with? They never had a plan. They didn't even have concepts of a plan. Okay, let's just keep it real. Because they don't care about us, guys. They don't care about us. They're good, they're receiving the best healthcare in the world through their congressional benefits. But us, who cares, who cares? Greene also spotlighted this stunning post from a self-employed father of 6. So just to give you a sense of how much American families are paying for healthcare, there are 9 options for health insurance in my zip code. Here are 3 silver plans. One of them will cost the family $3,655 a month. The other, $3,810 a month. The final one, close to $3,780 a month. Who can afford that?
Impossible. Yeah, they're squeezing us too much. There's a silver lining in this story. So first off, you might be wondering, why did she say pass President Trump's executive orders? You don't have to pass an executive order. No, it's because she signed on to HR 3493 because our audience asked her to. That's literal. And that is to lower drug prices. It's Trump's executive order that Ro Khanna turned into a bill. Once it's a bill, the courts can't knock it down. So they can actually go back in and now pass that if they are in a session. And I love that Ro Khanna and Marjorie Taylor Greene are working together to try to lower drug prices. That's part of the silver lining here, which is the Great Awakening. So as a Look, you can have two reactions to Marjorie Taylor Greene in this case, and both are legitimate and in their own way true. But let's talk about which one is more productive. You can go, oh, you didn't know that you guys didn't have a healthcare plan this whole time? Yeah, welcome to planet Earth. Ah, you're so late, right? Or you could say, oh, thank God she finally figured out the Republicans don't have a healthcare plan, right? Yeah, both are kind of true, but I like the second one better because it invites more people in. And a Republican realized that they have never had a healthcare plan and they're not gonna have one. And she's calling out her own side for it. That's awesome. And that's part of the Great Awakening. And it starts with the voters. And so the voters are waking up in mass, and it's now pushing into Congress through Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ro Khanna, and some other progressives, where they're beginning to go, oh, I get it. The rest of you are all corrupt. You all work for the health insurance companies. That's why you're not doing this. And the American people are suffering because of it. There you go. That's awesome. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true. But it does keep you updated on our live shows.
He was fired just 3 weeks before he was set to retire.
And now he's becoming an industry whistleblower. Kate Jennings has the story.
30 years.
This man was fired after 30 years of loyalty. Now he's exposing a $500 billion industry.
I saw this as an opportunity to help people.
Todd Andreessen dedicated his life to the same insurance company, only to be fired a week before his retirement, losing his pension.
That sucks.
Most people have a really bad context on the Bible, and they get frustrated with God, thinking that, well, I'm doing what you said to do, but if you do it out of context, it will not work for you. I'll give you one case in point. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. No, you can't. Well, the devil is a lie, Tim. Yes, I can. The scripture says it right there. But if you have it out of context, it won't work for you. If you don't believe me, when this church dismisses, fly home.
And he doesn't mean with a plane.
You can do all things, right? So don't get in the car, don't reach for your keys, walk straight out this door and see if you can get 7 seconds of hang time. And if you can, I will back down on what I've said. So if you have it out of context, it cannot work for you.
All right, guys. Shout out to you guys for stopping by. Tomorrow we will be back for the live stream. So go ahead and like this video. Make sure you're back tomorrow. We'll be back 2 times earlier tomorrow because it's Halloween. So I got something crazy to react to. People actually dressing up like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's killer. It's crazy. So we're going to take a look at that. You guys stay tuned. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Love yourselves. Love one another and be peaceful. Peace.